Okay, all right. This should be interesting. This should be interesting. I'm about to go, well, I'm live now on Conversations, and I'm just waiting for people to log on. Hello. We're getting ready to have a great interview with the one and only Danni G. So we're going to wait for a few more people to get on, and I'm going to look out for her request and see if I can get her in there. Hello. Oh, I see Danni G. She's going to help me out because this is my first time, and she is a master. So let's see if I can see her request, and then we will. Okay. Oh, she's a pro. Let's see. Let's see if I can get her in there. Live. See if she comes in. This is so exciting. She's like the bomb. Ah! You know when you pat yourself on the back, that moment.
What's going on?
What is going on?
How are you, lovely?
I am fabulous. I'm so excited, to talk to you because I know you're talk to my sisters all the time, especially now.
Yes.
But girl, it's me and you and I do some English. And let's just get cracking because I have so many questions for you.
Yes.
I followed you, and first things first, we are at the anniversary of this pandemic.
Yes.
All this racial injustice coming to light.
Yes.
Here's the question: how are you doing? And all?
I'm doing great, and I just got to preface it by saying I am up in Beacon, New York, and I was a little nervous because I was like, oh my God, check-in was at 3, and I was like, can we please get into our room early? So you might hear some noises randomly, so forgive me for that. People are checking in, doing things. I don't have my headset with me, but I'm doing good. I mean, I came to Beacon for a few days, which, I'm blessed to be able to get out of the city and take a little vacation. Health-wise, I couldn't be better. Oh, my family's good. God bless. Everything's been great. I've been fortunate to work this entire time with Summer Stage virtually. And so I of course, have my own, stresses and everything else in terms of wanting to stay healthy and worrying about my fellow man, humanity, and my friends. But so I'm good, though. I'm really good.
Good. I am glad to hear that. We're definitely going to talk about Summer Stage because I think that's fascinating that you can still do this. So
yeah.
Some people who just don't know you, I don't understand how they could not. But where were you born and how did you get into dance?
Yes. So I'm a Philly girl, Philadelphia, Southwest.
Yes, my dad.
So yeah, I'm from Southwest Philly, King Sesson Avenue. My mother still lives on that street. Nice. I actually literally just got off the phone with her because we talk every day. I'm a mama's girl.
Aww.
And so dance came to me. I was, well, first of all, it's always very physical. I was very much a tomboy growing up, just running them streets with the boys, playing all kinds of sports, kickball, street ball, whatever ball, and just riding my bike, just coming in just dirty and funky at the end of a long day. So I've always been very physical, climbing gates and walls. And then my mother took us to see The Wiz. I was about 6 years old. And it was a church trip. It was a church organized Broadway excursion up to New York. And she took us to see The Wiz. And I think that initially piqued my interest, seeing, first of all, people that looked like us, but just the show itself was phenomenal. And Jeffrey Holder's costumes. I mean, just all of it, And, and then I was starting to watch things on TV and some of the old movie musicals and dance. So I was starting to get really, I started making up dance routines at my house, like just by nature, whatever. But I didn't formally get into dance training until my mother sent my sister and I to a performing arts high school in Philly. It's a private small school. And I was in 6th grade. And so at that point, I didn't really have to declare my major yet. So I was sort of taking everything, voice, choir, acting, dance, but dance was it. And so by 7th grade, I declared my major. And then that way I could focus on my liberal arts in the daytime, in the morning, and then the afternoon was dedicated to dance.
So that was in the 7th grade. So you went to a performing arts school for middle school.
Well, yeah. So the school was so small. It was called the Performing Arts School, and at that time, it was connected to what is now known as the University of the Arts.
Yes.
And
yes.
so it was very small. It was only maybe 100 kids at any given time for the entire roster of kids. And so the school originally started from kindergarten all the way to senior. Then they moved it up. So by the time I got there, it was 4th grade actually.
Wow.
To 12th grade. Yeah, it was a very small, personal, really intense school. So I say 4th grade because when I got there, Amir from the Roots, the drummer, Questlove, he was in the 4th grade. I was in the 6th grade. And we were like, what? But so yeah, so I went there from the age of 6th grade. Hey, Lenny, me from 6th grade to senior. So I stayed there my entire middle high school years.
Now, how did you get into like Philadelphia? What was the process of like, what was that experience like? Why did you audition? How did that come about?
Yeah, so my school was predominantly white. I will say that. So there was a sprinkling of us Black kids up in there, and
really, in Philly?
Yeah. I quickly became connected with some of the other Black kids in the school because we just had to, right? But it was all good. It was all love. All the kids, they were just there for the arts and just to grow in their craft. But Evelyn Watkins, who was 2 years older than me in my sister's class, she was already a dancer with Philadelphia. And she, beautiful, gorgeous Evelyn Watkins. I had my little girl crush on her. I say it all the time. And I was steadily progressing because we had to take ballet and modern at my school. So I was taking Graham mostly,
yes,
all the ballets. And she came up to me one day and said, you should come audition for Philadelphia's training program. And so it's like a summer intensive, basically. Okay. What they would call them now. And yeah, so I went and I stepped outside of my shell of this, the cocoon of the school.
Right.
And and I went to this audition. There had to be at least 100 other kids in that room, and these were free classes for us all summer long. So it was a blessing to get it because I didn't have to pay for any of the classes all summer. And we had people like Jimmy Truitt, Pearl Primus, Dolores Brown Abelson, like top, not Denise Jefferson, like Pat Thomas, Faye Snow. I mean, major master teachers. And from then on, I stayed in the training apprentice program through the fall. So I was doubling up. So I was taking classes in school when I went back to school during the day, and then going over to Philadelphia in the evening to take class. So basically 3 classes a day.
Dedication. Wow.
That was fine. You can do it.
Nice.
Yeah. And then eventually, Aunt Joan, Miss Joan Myers Brown, invited me to take then the first company class. So then I was taking 4 classes a day during the week. And then finally, she, when I was 16, invited me to join the first company formally.
At 16? I'm telling you, Black excellence, Black girl excellence.
I mean, thank you. I wasn't doing that much touring with the company at that point because I was still in school, Right. And she was adamant that we kept our grades up, like every report card period. Myself and another dancer friend, we were the same age actually, Zane Booker. She would always ask to see our report cards. Good. And by my senior year in high school, I was gunning for valedictorian. So she was like, yeah, you. So I got it and I did it. And because of my grades, ended up getting a full scholarship to Temple University for journalism. I didn't stay, but academically, I did okay. Yeah.
Very committed and dedicated and just like you get it done. That's a lot of work to be in school and to be rehearsing and performing and keeping up your grades. So you have information. Now, how long were you with Philadelphia?
So I joined 16. I left the company and when I finally got into Ailey, I was 22.
And what made you want to make that transition?
Maybe there were many factors, but at that time that I was with Philadelphia, the company was not traveling internationally, and I had wanderlust. In my studies in school, we learned about all the arts, European, African, all these other things, and I just really wanted to see these other places. And Also, I was starting to learn about other dance companies that were younger than Philadelphia that were touring the world. And I'm thinking, well, why aren't we, and to be honest, I want to make a little more money than I was making
No,
way back.
keep it real, honey. Keep it real.
Yeah. And so I knew other fellow Philadelphia dancers had gone up to Ailey before me, many, actually, quite a few. And so at that point, my mother, a few years before I got into Ailey, had given me a videotape of Alvin Ailey, and I was in love, and I was like, yeah, I wanna be there, at
Wow.
some point in my career. I actually auditioned 3 times, and the third time was the charm.
So after the first time, were you like, when you went to your first audition, were you like, oh my, okay, what's going on here? Like, was it like a big total?
Yeah, I mean, the room was packed. I was still very young in my mind, young in my technique, young in my body.
Mm-hmm.
I was only like 17. I think the first 18, the first time I auditioned for Ailey. So I just wasn't ready,
Mm-hmm.
but it was good to be
But
there. And yeah, because I wasn't spending that much time in New York at all. So to be in New York, to see that level of competition and say, oh, okay, all right, I see what's
so I
going
got
on here. But I wasn't ready. And I don't even think Mr. Ailey even looked my way once because he was still alive at that point.
wow. Was
And
that intimidating at all to see Mr. Ailey? Like,
oh yeah, oh
imagine.
yeah. I mean, just having read about him and seeing Ailey whenever they came to Philly, I was just like, oh, I want to work with this man so bad. And just knowing his relationship with Aunt Joan, I knew was a beautiful, strong, friendly, respectful relationship. And in fact, one year the company was in Philly and Aunt Joan threw them a party after one of their shows. So I actually I did get to meet him once.
Wow.
And she brought me over to him and said, Alvin, this is one of my leading dancers. And he was like, hello, young lady. I mean, it was just wow.
That's
And so,
incredible.
yeah. And then I tell the story the day that he passed away, December 1st, 1989. That evening, we hadn't heard yet. And we were literally behind the curtain at Places at the Annenberg Theater in Philly,
In Philly.
about to start, yeah, our winter season run at the Annenberg. And we were literally at Places. Like, we were about to do, I remember the scene. It was Ritornello by Jean Hill Sagan and our red dresses. And I'm at Places. And I hear this crying in the wings. And we're like,
Right before you're about to go on.
and we heard it was Aunt Joan crying because she had heard that Mr. Ailey had passed. And so the curtain is going up and tears are streaming down my face. And it's supposed to be this light, airy piece to Bach. And, I'm like,
Oh no.
yeah. So that was rough. And of course,
Hard.
the company, yeah.
And then after that, then you auditioned 2 more times because you were determined, I'm getting in this company.
Yeah, the next time I auditioned, they were having national auditions. I don't even think they were really actually looking to hire someone.
Mm-hmm.
Then the third time I went up, and I had almost given up the thought of maybe getting in the company at that point.
Like, why?
I just felt like I had already auditioned twice, and my star in Philly was rising. I was getting noticed and reviews, and so I was like, okay, well.
Oh.
But then we did the Joyce. Yeah, we did the Joyce. Actually, it's hitting me honestly in this moment. Yeah, that was it. We did the Joyce in 1990. It was Philadelphia's first time appearing at the Joyce. And I was literally, out of the 6 ballets, I was probably the lead in 5 of them. And I'm not bragging. That's just what it was.
Listen, we have to claim it.
That's just what it was, right?
Yeah.
And opening night, swear to God, opening night, I'm in my dressing room, and I didn't know anyone in New York. I didn't. I mean, I didn't go to New York. And there was a knock on my dressing room door, and Joan Myers Brown is standing there, and I'm like, hey. And she says, her words, there's some white man out here to see you.
Oh.
Girl.
Listen, it is what it is.
And I was like, okay. So I put on my little, you know, whatever. And I go into the hallway and there's this white man standing there. And I won't say his name because he is very well known now. I mean, that'll be in the book.
Yeah. You can text me afterwards. I want to.
I will. No, it's a little controversial now, but I'll text you after. But anyway, he's in the hallway, and it turns out he was a self-made businessman, very wealthy. He had come to the show that night by chance. A friend of his has a subscription to the Joyce.
Okay.
Their partner got sick. So he was like, hey, man, do you want to come with me to this dance show? I got these tickets, man. Do you want to come to this show? So he came by chance with a friend, saw me, and from that moment on, he was like, you need to be dancing in New York. You're too big for this company. I couldn't take my eyes off of you. Like, you outshone everybody. He came back every single night after that to see me perform, to see if I was like consistent. And much to my boyfriend at the time's chagrin, who I was dating at the company, he came back the next night with a dozen roses. Then he came back the next night with 2 dozen roses. So each successive night, it was more and more roses. Nothing ever happened between me and this man, but he believed in me so hard, and he was like a Svengali almost.
Right.
And he stayed on me. He was like, what's your dream of dreams? And I was like, well, you know, I would love to dance for Ailey, but I think that ship may have sailed. He was like, oh, no, Peanut. You call me Peanut. Oh, no. We're going to figure out what it takes to get you in that company. He didn't know anybody in Ailey, but he wanted me to think.
That much?
Yeah, he wanted me to think, not cutthroat, but just really laser in on what I might need to do to get in that company. And so 6 months later, he invited me to New York, and we went to see Ailey at City Center. And he told me, don't look at them as a fan. Look at them as you want that job and what they have that maybe you don't.
Your mindset.
Right? And swear to God, 6 months later, 5, whatever, May, I was auditioning and got the job.
So your mindset was like, not I'm going to war, but I'm going to war. This is what I need to do. That's interesting. Yeah. That just changed your whole perspective of getting in there. That's incredible. I don't know who this person is. I have to ask you about one of my all-time favorite pieces in the universe, because I saw your dusted off video that you posted. Cry is the iconic piece forever.
Yeah.
Just the power of what it means. I've seen Judith Jamison do it, Renee Robinson. Girl, when I saw your video, I was like, because the dance is like 24 hours long. Like, and it's just you.
Yeah.
So my first question is, what went through your mind when you found out you were cast for Cry?
Well, it was there was no big dramatic moment where, you know, I got called into the office and, you know, oh, you're doing Cry.
Out on you.
Yeah, it was not that at all. I wish I had that story. Judy, we were on tour, domestic tour. I think it was 95. Domestic tour 95. And we were in San Diego. That I'll never forget. And we were doing one of those all Ailey programs where there were excerpts.
Yep.
And so I had been in the company now 4 or 5 years and successfully doing, you know, leading roles, whatever. And we had just done an excerpt from Blues Suite, the trio, the ladies trio, House of the Rising Sun, which is all dramatic. We're in the whorehouse and and it was intermission. So that closed that act. So I'm at intermission and I'm gathering up my leg warmers from the side stage to cross to the other side to where the dressing rooms were. And Judy is walking towards me this way. She stops in front of me and I was like, oh Lord, what did I do?
They don't fire me in the middle.
So, you know, I was always add some little extra. And she was like, she stopped in front of me. I was like, hi, you know, was that okay? She was like, she looks me up and down and she goes, it's time for you to start learning Cry. And then she just kept on walking. And I'm standing center stage with my stuff like.
That was it?
That was it. That's it.
Okay.
And so one of my fellow favorite dancers, Roger Bellamy, God rest his soul, he was sitting in the wings warming up for Revelations, which was going to be the next act. he thought that she had said, because I started crying. He thought that she had said something horrible to me, like whatever, you know. He comes running onto the stage and he's like, what did she say to you? Ooh. I was like, no, Roger, I'm learning cry. I'm learning cry. So we start screaming in the middle of the stage. We're laughing and jumping up and down. Sadly, though, I ended up getting injured right before I started learning it. But came back in time. I was determined. I told my doctor, I was like, look, I just learned I'm doing cries. I don't know what you got to do to get me right. Yeah, so I dance cry on basically a crumbling hip. So, yeah.
You're kidding.
No. So, but
through it. That's,
you know how it is when you hit that stage, the adrenaline is pumping through your veins. You don't feel it until after, and I felt it. But you know, I made do. I had to do it. I had to do it.
It was amazing. I'm like, what? Did you see it? Like my sisters and I are looking at her like, and it's so, you're so lucky to have that footage because it just, they didn't have the phones back then where everybody's videotaping everything. You got these versions all over the place. Yeah,
I mean, I learned it so quickly because what ended up happening, I got injured September 95.
Okay.
I ended up having to, I think I started learning it a little bit then. And then I ended up having to take a few months off in 96 between like January and March just to like strengthen my, because I had injured the cartilage in my hip. And so I had to take some time off to just strengthen my pelvic girdle to keep the muscles around the hip strong. And learn the different ways of stretching and strengthening. And so I came back in March of that year in time for us to do Philly and other things on that domestic tour. And so I continued learning cry through that summer. And so I was being taught cry by Nasha, Renee. The other interesting thing is the divas, honey.
Listen.
Judy told me to study Donna Wood's version, and which was interesting to me because that was one of the videotapes that my mom had given me as a Christmas present years ago.
Wow,
I studied that tape forever, like, and it was Donna Wood's version. So for Judy to say that, like, I already knew, like, just the look, the nuances, all of that. Not to be exactly like Donna,
of course.
But I think she felt I had similar lyricism and musicality, perhaps, and quality, which I'm so flattered. And in fact, when we, the night that I debuted it was overseas in Germany. So, yeah, I was in Germany, and you know, that's the video that you saw. So that video that you saw was my very first time dancing cry, and it went so well. Like it just went so, I was ready.
You were in it. Like I think all your experiences, everything just came out into that.
Yeah.
Everyone can't do cry, child. Everybody cannot do. You know, and I think it was just amazing. It was amazing.
Thank you so much. And the beautiful thing, what you don't see in that video, honestly, which was shocking to me, you see me bowing and then the curtain comes in, right? And then the video goes, you know, black, whatever.
Right.
The company, they were all in the wings watching, which was amazing. Judy was back there. Everyone's backstage. They rushed on stage. I mean, when I tell you my journey with Ailey, I had a wonderful relationships with the company. I wasn't part of anybody's cliques, or you know how things could be in companies.
Yeah.
I was good. I had great friendships. I had a good time. I did. And so everyone rushed on stage. They embraced me. It was amazing. We were crying. We're crying.
Oh.
The audience would not leave. So what you don't see on that video is that they had to bring the curtain back up. And the company manager had to get everybody else off the stage because I had to do like 5 more curtain calls.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Danny.
Okay. Black mascara down my cheeks and everything.
Gosh, that was just everything.
Yeah, it was. And so when I got to New York, when I got home actually, because that was actually the last night of that tour, And I got home and I got back to Philly because I was still living in Philly because I was just commuting.
Mm-hmm.
Went back to see my doctor who was like, check in with me after your tour. Let's check on that hip. And that's when he told me that I had to stop. So anyway.
Yeah, I know that. I imagine, but
yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, to have that experience.
Yeah.
Started transitioning. So
yeah.
I have to ask you, you know, we have Tina Turner and Nutbush, and we have Danni G and Sugarbush, and that. Where did that rock and roll part of Danni come from? Like, was it always? It's just so interesting. You do Cry, Revelations, and then you're a rocker. What's up with that?
You know, I think first of all, I come from a music city. It's like Detroit. Philly is a music city.
Really
and so I grew up with a lot of music around me. My stepdad, you know, he always had the oldies on. And of course, our school was right down the street from Gamble and Hutt, Philly International. So I was already entrenched in that. And then when I went to my high school, not to be all stereotypical, but all them white kids, Jersey kids, I started hearing all this rock music and hanging out in their houses. And there was something about that guitar that just, I was like, you know what, this is it. I love the large, bombastic, electric guitar sound. I just do. And screaming vocals, keyboards, the drum, just all of it is so big. And so even when I was in Ailey, we did this piece called Scissors, Paper, Stone to Jimi Hendrix. Oh, I love that piece because it was like, yeah, it was just like out there. So I think it's always been there. And when I started writing music, which is actually all through high school, and the entire time I was with Ailey, several of us were singers in the company, and we would go off on after shows to open mics wherever we were. We would find something. And I was always writing, but I was always writing in minor keys, like those dark keys, you know.
Yep.
And then when I left Ailey and just working through my depression of that, because, you know, I was right at the peak of my career, you know.
Right, I can imagine.
My boyfriend at the time, the one thing he did leave with me was a keyboard. He bought me a keyboard to sort of like help me get my expression out. So that was one good thing that came out of that relationship. A keyboard. And so I started writing music, and it was very like in that sort of indie rock vein. And I wasn't really thinking about starting a band at that point. I was just thinking maybe I could get a record deal. I don't know. And by that point, I had hooked up with Kathy Sledge again, started singing backgrounds with her again. So
wow.
It was just all this mishmash of people that I knew that sort of bounced me into singing career. And I started singing with her and her sisters. So that's helped me develop my ear, my voice. And then I ended up, there was a guy that I was seeing. Okay, look. Who did live in New York, who I met while I was dancing in Ailey. And so we stayed in touch. And so I started going to New York to see him after me and keyboard guy broke up. And so I started going to New York. Right. I started going to New York to see him. And also at that point, I started teaching fitness. I started teaching in New York and Philly. And one of these days, so the guy that I was seeing, he was a music journalist. And one day we ran into Greg Tate, who is another journalist who also at that time had a black rock band called Medusa Oblongata.
Oh, okay.
So my boyfriend at the time said to me, well, this is Danni G. She just left out from Ailey, but she's working on some music. And Greg was like, all right, I got a band. You want to come audition? I was like, sure. So I got to right. At that time, I was, working through my post-Ailey haze. I had stopped perming my hair. I dyed it bleach blonde. It came out all crazy. I looked crazy. But for them, it was like, yo, you look cool, man. So I auditioned for this band, ended up singing with them, meeting this amazing group of people, including Imani Uzori, Sharif Simmons.
Wow.
And the poet, Jessica Caremore, who won historically at the Apollo with her poetry. As I was singing backgrounds for her on a show, the club promoter came up to me and said, "You're amazing. I have a show in 2 months. Do you have a band?" I lied and said, "Yes."
Yes. What else are you gonna say? Of course. We'll worry about it later.
So I did. She was like, "What's the name of your band?" I said, "Oh, we're still working on that." But in the meantime, I also, besides teaching fitness, I was doing personal training, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this woman who I was training, she was going skiing or training, or she was going somewhere with her family. And I asked her where she was going. She said Mount Sugarbush. So me being me, I was like, Mount who?
No way.
She said it completely innocently, but you know, Sugarbush has so many connotations. But I was like, that's perfect. I was like, that's perfect. So that's how Sugarbush was born.
I love it.
I had my first show August 11, 1999, the Lower East Side. Actually, Kathy Sledge came and did some guest vocals, and people were like, "What?"
Wow.
And the rest is the rest. You know, I kept the band, and we kept it going for as long as we could. I mean, you know, I never had a manager. It was always a one-woman show, so it was tough to get gigs a lot of times. But we ended up playing some really cool rooms in New York, and put out 2 albums, self-produced, that I raised my own money for. Wrote all music, and
you're just multi-talented. So I have to, for the sake of time, because I have all these questions, but I want to.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just talking.
No, because I could talk to you all day. So with all of your experiences from getting to Beldanko into Ailey and then just this rock and roll career, like what advice do you have for artists who don't know what field they want to do, what kind of art they want to do, or they don't want to take the risk, or they think they can only stay in one lane? Like what advice do you have?
Yeah, you know, you got to be flexible. If this year has taught us nothing else, it's to be flexible. And I would just say, you know, explore, but definitely, you know, go with something that really speaks to your heart, because you have to love it. I mean, there were times when I was between gigs, post Ailey, broke as hell, electricity got turned off. All kinds of things, selling jewelry. You have to love it. Like, you really have to want it. You really have to love it. You have to invest in it. You have to go see other things that are going on in your field, see what's going on out there, see, even if just to learn from what people are doing, or to learn what not to do. I would say, but you gotta love it. You really gotta love it, because this is not an easy life. It's artist life. You know, I mean, I've sacrificed body parts here. I mean, I had to have my hip replaced, both of them. I'm saying it live for the first time. I have 2 rock and roll metal hips.
Metal
it was worth it.
You know, it is.
You know,
Zinda says you're determined. You're determined.
Zinda's my girl. Zinda knows she was there with me at Ailey. Yeah, so you just have to love it, and definitely have people around you that will support you. Won't just blow smoke up your butt, but will tell you like, oh, maybe you think, you know, but definitely people that are in your corner, for sure.
That's just amazing. And what inspires you?
I love the arts. I love making people smile. Even for social media, to me is performance art. I ever since I got clued into social media, I'm like, oh, this is just a new stage for me. I was telling my boyfriend John, who's out wandering the streets of Beacon right now, giving me some space to do this. I mean, I have been a class clown since 2nd grade. And my mom and I were talking about that yesterday. I mean, I would get straight A's in everything except for behavior, because I was always
You're always performing, you're always on.
I was always in the back, either cracking jokes or doing impersonations or just something.
I can see that by your energy.
And I love to make people smile. Even when I know I'm posting something funny on Instagram, like a meme, and people say, oh my God, I'm dying over here laughing. Like, that brings me joy. It brings me joy. Even now, working at Summer Stage, knowing that even virtually, we're still bringing art to people's homes.
Yeah, talk a little bit about that. How is that working? Going?
I mean, it was scary and challenging at first, but I say it all the time. This pandemic has given me an opportunity to flex some serious other creative muscles. And, you know, it behooved me to, one, I have a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
So it behooved me to figure it out and do the absolute best I could with these digital programs to give to thank the creator for that I have my job.
Those are facts. Yeah. No excuses.
No difference than if I would put something on the stage in public, because I'm very closely connected with my shows as well there, but I just felt a duty to step up to the challenge of pivoting to all virtual. And I didn't have a lot of money to do it, but I leaned in on my relationships. Thank God I have them, and thank God I've created and nurtured really good relationships over the years that people came through. You know, my National Dance Day film, I had Misty Copeland, Maya, Judy, BB Newworth. I mean, they all spoke on my film for free.
Wow.
And it was beautiful. So Desmond Richardson, okay. I had the best of the best. So I don't take any of that lightly. And as you know, I've been using my Fridays, my platform just on Danny G to
love it. I love it.
Thank you. Interview people to be able to say what they're working on. If they need donations, people have been able to like ask for donations through the platform. Again,
Friday at 5 o'clock.
Every Friday at 5 on Danny G NYC. Yeah, I mean, like, again, it behooves me to give back. You know, I've been given so much, even in these COVID times. It's just been remarkable.
Trying to shape up Shaumba. Shaumba said this is very inspiring.
We're about to rest. You sisters are inspiring. I love y'all. Come on.
Get on my nerves. Let me just go stop. No, we get inspired by you, by sisters like you who are just trying to be positive.
Thank you.
Pivot and just help the arts and all of that. So we have a few minutes left. Any shout outs, anything you want to send to anybody before we?
Just, to my sisters and brothers of all races and creeds and everything else, just hang in there. Be kind. Be kind to yourselves. We're still in it, man. Like, we're still in it. And this has been traumatic on so many levels, besides all the people we've lost.
Yes.
Being afraid to re-socialize, even to get the vaccine, just all of it. Just be kind to yourselves. Be kind to each other. If you do have extra because you didn't lose your job or whatever, donate, support. And even if you don't have money, honestly, even if you just share what someone's doing on your page, that's support. That's like donating in kind. You don't have to give money, but even if you share that somebody's doing a fundraiser on your page, and it can spread the word.
That says a lot. Yeah.
That's a word.
It is. Someone said this was great. Loved watching you perform, Danny G.
Thank you.
We love you. We love you. Well, I have to wrap up, but I'm definitely going to be talking to you again because we work on complexions together.
Yes.
But this is Conversations from the 617 with the one and only Danny G. Can you just tell us your social media tags one more time, please?
Yes. So my main page on Instagram is Danny G NYC, where you can see my Friday shows. But on Facebook, Twitter, Danny, you can find me, Danny G. Just put in Danny G. But if you go to the main Instagram page, you'll be able to find me on my Linktree links, my Danny G TV YouTube channel, where you can see all the archived interviews. Please subscribe. Danny G TV on
YouTube. Everybody hear that? Subscribe. I've seen subscribe today. Because you don't want to miss all of this fabulous blackness right here. Moati says your shows are everything.
They're so great. She's so great. She's always there. I see her every time. It's awesome. Yeah. Thank you guys for this.
Well, thank you. We are honored. I'm so honored to have this opportunity. Seriously, I could talk to you all day because you're one of the girls who just has, and we're definitely going to connect when I come up and all that stuff. So again, Danny G.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Be blessed, and just keep creating that positive universe.
Thank you. And the great things you guys are doing too up in the Boston area. So thank you for that. Thank you for all that you guys are doing as well.
Thank you. We're trying. All right, now the goal is to end this and save it because I don't save it on some channel.
That's right.
Hear from it. So wish me luck, girl.
Okay.
But thank you. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and be safe.
you later.
Bye.
Bye. There.